If you know a person, you can remember their hands, or so the lyrics of a song once told me. How they look, how they move, the shapes of the gaps in between their fingers, the white half-moon cuticle at the bottom of each nail, the creases of skin on their knuckles, how the tendons rise and flex as their fingers reach and bend. What they do in the mouth is speaking, still and placid, or flailing and frantic. How they hold a pen. How their fists clench when in pain, when running away. How one will grasp and squeeze the other when their body is uncomfortable. How do their fingers move through their own hair or skin, over another person's body? How do they hold faces, brush cheeks, touch the spine? How do they lie when sleeping, at rest? Pressed against one another close to the face, the typical pose, or splayed behind the head, pushed in between the legs for warmth, or fingers stuck in the mouth for to chew during dreams. But most of all, just how they look, where the shadows fall, how they move, how they dance.
He heard piano runs over and over again in his mind. Piano runs and the rattle of timbales. Wild in his mind, every fiber was present, conscious, aware. He stared at his reflection in the mirror. She spoke a phrase in German. She mentioned something quietly, Edelweiss. And at that moment he knew. He speaks, and she doesn't mind. She listens. Lines from films, but not necessarily. The event that he had been allowed to see during his childhood was the moment of his own death. Are you happy? Yes. Yeah, I think you are.
I think of Oscar Peterson, and it's as if I'd known him. God, how his fingers flew. And you sing along to the songs you make. God, how I could marry just his fingertips alone. Sweaty brow, long bones like the legs of a praying mantis, and God, how they flew. Fingers to point, fingers to offend, to deeply offend, to wonder, fingers to know. And whole hands to slap with 5 long fingers and a meaty palm. Whole hands to cup water and bear it to crack lips, knead bread and untie muscles, roll cigarettes and balance them delicately in their place between pointer and middle fingers.
Those unmistakable, indescribable feelings, like the excitement of waiting for an elevator in an expensive hotel. The trees lining the street were dotted with strings of lights, and we never had time. Autumn. November.
Veins dripping down your wrist bone. Hands holding drumsticks like teacups, or teacups like drumsticks, or they get flung around when furious, or get thrown at faces, Vaseline-cheeked but still purple with bruises.
In the town on a hill on a Sunday afternoon, when they thought it might rain, she took photographs. The perfect curve of one golden shoulder. Patches of daffodils, maddeningly elusive. She took photographs.
I was told that I could, that anyone should, remember the hands of those they truly know. So it frightened me to think of all the hands I could not remember, could not picture in my mind's eye.
It was a long time since I had felt the warmth of a fire. In an old barn that smelled like the Berkshires. In brick buildings. She drove the mountains. A bridge over the river.
But maybe not in the mind's eye, but in your hands themselves. How it feels to have your fingers laced in another's, the empty spaces between each knuckle filled by some other knuckles. To kiss those fingertips before you sleep, lips on calluses, on cracking winter skin.
I watched them dance together, and that was the happiest I had ever seen him.
Fingers pushing back your hair again and again and again, hands big enough to hold your entire face, grasp firm enough to hold your arms over your head.
They're lonely pictures. So, You're funny. You take pictures of empty streets and trees with no leaves. It's winter. No, it's not quite winter. In between autumn and winter. November.
Or other hands strong enough to lift you off the ground and spin you, to toss you overhead like a rag doll, kind, gentle, to catch you and hold you. Hands may be too old now, but once they could do all this.
The view from the bridge. She seemed calm. There was a dark, cool order, a neatness, a ripple on the stone. They sat and listened to the ice shift.
Hands to divide your long hair into 3 parts and begin the braid. 1 over 1 over 1 over 1 until it is complete. To peel backing off of band-aids and hold it just right, press it over the cut tenderly so it won't fall off. They will always be able to do this. Able hands.
A natural high. It must have been a dream. I had never woken up from a dream before and felt so intensely happy. So immensely happy that I just basked in the hot glow of euphoria.
These hands, I haven't forgotten. In these ways you cannot forget.